Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews, where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Suicide Puppets, titled Death Note. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on a music beat with the art for it. Now, this is important just before I get into this. This track releases, or by the time this video comes out, it will have released on the 31st of March. But there's also going to be a music video for this, which apparently, what I've been told, is actually really dope sounding. So if you want to check out the video, go find their social medias. They'll be linked in the description of this review. And it's basically released in the first or the second week of April. So by the time this comes out, it will have been the first. So if it isn't out, it'll be out the week after. Anyways, we're going to listen through this track from start till finish. And we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Oh, damn, immediately with the orchestral section with the guitar, bass, and drums. Ooh, this is kind of dope, eh? Great use of repeaters there. I liked how they kind of fade into the distance. Great use of space there. I love the combination of these string and other elements here coming in with the tightness of it. It's very dramatic, but it makes it more interesting to hear. You know what I mean? We're not sort of sleeping on the composition here. There's always been more room for instrument sort of compositions like this, and the style of vocals as well. With the it's great. I think when you've got these kind of growly kind of vocals here, you need the composition behind it to be more colorful to sort of counter that. When they find you, they will never know. So obviously this is about someone dying or someone being killed by someone. You're my victim today. So is this the perspective of someone telling you, the listener, that they're going to find you and they're going to kill? That is dramatic, dude. That's awesome. I like that. That's an interesting angle to go from. The groove behind it just kind of elevates it. Nice use of the Phrygian mode in that chord progression, dude. It's not just that we've got really interesting lyrics and the vocals are fun to listen to and the textures sound really great together. It's that we've also got fun little sort of lead guitar parts like in the chorus. So kind of, again, that color within the melody, within the overall composition is important here. We're nailing it. I'm really stoked with the elements and how they're put together. This sounds like a band who are actually going to get somewhere in their careers. Yeah, the second half of it, it's a catchy sort of like section with that melody, and like the main and sort of backing vocals there as well. How they go between da 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 like a death note, like going backwards and forwards with the changes in the guitar lines and the constant pushing forward of the drums of the bass and everything. It's really articulate. The musician's the killer. Solo section. Excellent choice. You don't need to have a solo section, but after lots of story, after a narrative-driven sort of piece, it can be nice to switch it up, you know? And the vocals in the background as a sub layer, that grit there is fantastic. So we transition back into the outro chorus. Da 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 da. I mean, like, even the rhythm and the phrasing of the lines in the chorus is dope. Like, it's da 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 da. Like, again, I know that some of the textures, like in the vocals, you know, the music sounds kind of ominous and everything like that. Even the subject matter might be kind of difficult for some people, but it's the groove, man. It's the rhythms and the way things are phrased there. The accenting on a 1, 2, 3, 4, da 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 da. It's really easy to nod your head to and kind of like get lost in. And the double kicks, kind of building things up here. It's great. Great development and further intensity there. And just finishing with that orchestral last bang there, death note, as if you hadn't already gotten the hook line already. Finishing on it, death note, dun. Just with the collection of instruments there, and boom, they're out. Yeah, I'm happy with this. And this is my conclusion of my review of this track by Suicide Puppets, titled Death Note. What do I think this track is about after listening through it? I think this track is about a musician, and they're a killer, and they're killing their fans or something like that. That's what I got from this track. I got it from the chorus, I got it from some of the verse parts, and I got it also from the little sort of radio talkie man talking about the musician fan in that interlude section, which I think is dope. It's nice to have an alternative sort of vocalist or sort of like newscaster or something just to add a bit of drama and suspense to it. So that's great. The vocals were really well done, but like the story was well told as well. It was a little bit more difficult to understand than some of the sort of like the clean vocal stuff I listened to. But that just kind of forces you to pay more attention, and the chorus lines, they were more easy to understand and stuff like that because there was less distraction, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, even if the vocals weren't necessarily easy to understand, I still had a great time listening to them. Like the guy who was doing most sort of like the growly stuff there, that kind of wispy kind of voice that I can't do. But they can do it really well. It's like creepy kind of tinge to it. They did an excellent job of expressing themselves within this track. It was totally consistent throughout, which made sense. So if you had it at the start, you had it at the end. I'm glad that we decided to have those lead sections there as well, because I feel like that was just such a smart move. Such a smart move, because what we had going on was that like a lot of the other music kind of picked up from that, but the vocal technique was strong. The words came through clearly. The double tracking added further intensity to some of those lines. Again, the newscast was good in that interlude section. And yeah, it made sense for like the type of metal that we're playing, as well as just the overall sort of like coloration of the harmony. Again, having sort of more sort of monotone kind of vocals there with the kind of gristly textures helps it to stand out. And yeah, the track itself at, you know, I'm not sure, how long was this track? This track was 3 minutes 34, right? So this track was 3 minutes 34. That's a great use of time. That's within a 2 to 4 minute sweet spot, you know, no complaints there. Fantastic to have such good use of time, you know, with the different verse, bridge, and sort of chorus sections, with an interlude section, and then also a solo as well. You know, fantastic use of the real estate we had within this. You know, there was absolutely no filler. I like the combination, again, as I mentioned before, like the guitar, drums, and bass, and the sort of strings and brass parts there. It was nice to have such full sounding sort of distorted rhythm riffs there, with the lead lines going on the center, cascading in that solo section with the mixture of sort of simple phrasings, and then like the wah section with the tremolo was dope. The bass line as well, kind of rolling with the drums in that intro, and then kind of filling in the foundations for the remainder of it was dope. It was really cool. And then the drums as well, like the drums kind of filling into that end, not just filling in, the drums were solid throughout. Like we had them straight from the start there with a mixture of double kicks and eighth note grooves there, and some tom fills, occasional sixteenths. And the kind of da and the snare parts in the start of the chorus. I'm just kind of driving things forward. Having the snare on the first beat kind of instantiates kind of like a faux double time kind of feel there. So it adds a sense of pace and freneticism to it, which I really appreciate. I think like the combination of those string elements and the orchestral elements with the guitars, bass, and drums there added a nice tightness to it. And those orchestral symphonic bits kind of really made a massive difference in the mid to high sections, building upon the triads and melodies and harmonies we had there, and kind of making them sound huge. And the dynamic range to those parts there added more kind of changes in energy there, and like different bell curves, etc. throughout there. I sense a dynamic range there, which is fantastic with the track like this, especially when the chorus is so pushed. And like the overall sort of like theme of the track there, with all the different elements of the arrangement and composition, shows a fundamental understanding of music theory and composition. The track was well thought out from start to finish, and I have absolutely no complaints about the way it was played. There was not a note out of place. The theme itself did invoke a sense of danger and dread to it. That makes sense with the storyline, so everything had a good sense of synergy to it. The studio recording, mixing, and mastering, the production overall was commercial grade there. It sounded like I'd hear from something like a bigger sort of indie metal label or something like that. Really good first impression. Like the vocals are nicely filled and EQ'd and compressed there. Nice mixture of like the vocals in the front, like in the chorus, with the side chaining going between those two, so great use of the stereo field and that response as well. The guitars, bass, drums there, great clarity of those instruments in the mix despite the intensity and furor of some of those tones there. Nicely compressed, and the drums were nicely sidechained there with the bass without being too sort of overwhelming there, with a great sense of like raw tone to like some of those sort of tone fills what we had later on. Again, the string and the brass parts, the orchestral bits were nicely filled as well, with like resonances in the mid to high range there without too much sort of sub stuff going on to not interfere with the lower elements there. And the fact that they managed to get all those sounding consistent within a mix there speaks volumes of their ability to produce a track like this. I'm happy overall with the leveling of the track. It was well done. There were no weird resonant frequencies in the stereo field, and the frequency spectrum, should I say. And the dynamic range, as I mentioned, was there. There was like changes in perceived loudness and everything like that, which was good and healthy. And it was nice and loud without pumping. And that's effectively my review of Death Note, a track by Suicide Puppets. Hopefully you enjoy it. Remember to go check out the music video that's releasing in the 1st or the 2nd week of April. If it's not out now, it'll be out soon. And please do go show them some love via their various social medias and their YouTube page. And stay cool and stay safe. And please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands Out.